What is going on, YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today I'm going to tell you how I turned $0 into $50,000. That's right. So if you're interested, stay tuned right after this. So when I began this journey, I'm going to be honest with you, I really didn't know anything about investments. I didn't know really too much about stocks. I really had no idea what a mutual fund was, really what an ETF was, and I really didn't have any direction. And so what I did is, obviously I had a retirement account, a 401k, and in that account, my funds were set up for a target dated fund, and 100% of my retirement was projected to go into that 2055 target dated fund. Now, one of my friends that is one of my coworkers now came along, and we really just started bouncing ideas off of each other. Hey, what if we could invest in this? How do we invest in this type of thing? How do we get into stocks? And so we really started doing the research together and found out that we could actually open a brokerage account through our retirement. So we did that. Moving forward, I really had, and if you guys have seen any of my videos, you know the passion I have for Apple. And it's an emotional attachment. Like I stated in previous videos, I use every single one of their products. I edit these videos on an Apple product. I am videoing this video right now on an Apple product. I have an iPhone. I own Apple products. And so I've always just kind of had an emotional attachment to it. So when I first opened my brokerage account, I decided, hey, I'm going to throw as much money as I possibly can at Apple. At the time, it ended up being right around $9,000 that I transferred from that 2055 and put it directly into my brokerage account. So what I did is I invested heavily into Apple, and from there, I started to really build my portfolio. I would have a percentage of my paycheck go into my brokerage account, and I would continue to build from there. So just to name some of the stocks that I were able to get into early on was Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla. From there, I really started basically self-teaching myself. What I would do is at night, I would constantly study. I would go to YouTube, and one of the biggest platforms you can possibly learn and self-teach yourself is going to be YouTube. So I just started looking at everything possible. I started researching dividends. I started researching, big time companies that are blue chips. And I started researching penny stocks. I really started just evaluating the entire playing field when it comes to stocks. And truthfully, the interest that I grew from that is what made me start doing YouTube. But that's for a different day. So from there, I continued to really start studying charts and understanding how charts work. And I started studying 52-week highs, 52-week lows, and people's thoughts and opinions and how they pick stocks, all of that type of stuff. And so what I started doing is I started to develop my own game plan. And in that game plan, I decided to myself that my 401k brokerage account would become the entire Dow 30. And what's funny about the whole thing is that what honestly has made me the most money and really has just made a huge impact on my 401k actually ended up being Workhorse. And I've put out 2 videos. The first one is going to be right here, and the second one is going to be right here. Both of those videos, I kind of talk about my passion for Workhorse, and I even think in the first one I discussed, how much I had. but I continued to plug away, and I got in. I had 600 shares, and I actually had it right around the $3 average price point. And from there, once it started going up, I've made a lot of money off of it, and I'm gonna go through my portfolio for you guys so you can see. But you're really gonna see that I have put a lot of effort into the Dow 30, and it's been a great return for me. You guys know I've done a ton of videos on the EV market, and the reason is because, well, I've invested in almost every single one of them, and I have actually added those to my 401k. Now, like I stated previously, my major goal was to get the entire Dow 30, and I accomplished that. I at least have one share in every company in the Dow 30. I believe there's only maybe 2 that I have a little bit over one share, but for the most part I was able to get anywhere from 5 to 10, and some of those even, more. But since I've got the Dow 30, I started adding, I've added the likes of Neo, Arion, I just stated I had Workhorse, I did add some Luckin Coffee, there's so many others that I've started to add. Especially Blink is another one. So I'm really starting to add some of those potential growth stocks that I really think have a chance to explode and make money similar to like what Workhorse did. And I really am going to continue building this account, and hopefully that, I have some pretty big goals set for this account, and obviously it's my retirement account. So I hope to use this one day to retire on. So just to give you guys a recap of exactly how I turned $0 into $50,000. So basically what I did is I took my 2055 target dated fund when I really didn't take stocks seriously. And once I started to, I realized I had 100% being forced into my 2055 target dated fund. When I really started taking stocks seriously, I opened my brokerage account and I transferred what was $10,000 from that target dated fund and transferred it into my brokerage account, which is where I just began just throwing money left and right to different things. Like I said, I went into this thing with a game plan. I really wanted to establish some blue chip stocks. I really wanted to get some major players, and I decided to really turn my account into almost a dividend account / the entire Dow 30. That was my plan. I wanted to make sure that I had dividends, reinvesting themselves back into each other, and that way I was constantly growing my account. And on top of that, I knew that these stocks were going to be big time, returners, like Apple. That's just a perfect example. So one of the next steps I took was I started to invest into outside Dow 30 stocks, but they were major growth stocks. At the time, it happened to be Tesla. I was able to get into Tesla probably around the 300 all the way to 600 mark, and I recently sold. I had 5 shares. I sold 4 of those shares basically almost at maximum dollar, and that was at $1,700. The other day it hit $1,800. So I was able to capitalize on that, and then when I flip those, I turn around and buy other companies I don't have. And the perfect example was I got into all the new major growth stocks that are the EV market, and I spoke about that earlier. So that is how I turned $0 into $50,000. I really did some research, and that would be my best advice to you guys. If you're really interested in doing something like this, do your research, pick some stocks, focus on a game plan, and have a vision, and just stick with that game plan. I think the worst possible thing that you can do is to just bounce around from stocks and really not have a vision, a game plan, be getting in and out of stocks that you really aren't studying and understanding. If you really sit down, establish a game plan, stick to that game plan, I'm telling you guys, you will make money in the stock market, no matter what you are, whether you're a trader, a investor, or you dabble in options, whatever it is. If you put forth the time, if you put forth the effort to understand the craft, and you're gonna be successful. I mean, I am honestly can attest that I had no idea, knew nothing about stocks, knew nothing about 401ks, knew nothing about any of that stuff. And I self-taught myself, and like I said, established a game plan, knew exactly where I wanted to take it, and I did it. I executed, and I cannot be more happy. Now, am I satisfied? Most definitely not. And I obviously took, from there, I opened another account through TD Ameritrade, and I do a lot of my swing trades through that, and that's for another day as well. But my vision for my 401k, like I said, was to establish the Dow 30, and then now I'm just plugging away and adding more resources and really just adding more stocks. I really don't have a whole lot of mutual funds in there, and the reason is because I have my actual retirement side of my 401k. This is just my brokerage side I'm talking about. So my actual retirement side is all mutual funds. So that's how I kind of really diversify my portfolio. My brokerage side is just strictly individual stocks, and my retirement side is actually all mutual funds. So that's how I kind of stay diversified in that two aspects. If you guys have any questions, shoot those questions down in the comment section, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. But yeah, that's how I turned $0 into $50,000. You guys know how I do it. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my channel. And as always, have a good day.